DuckTales Season 3, Episode 8, The Phantom and the Sorceress.
Um,
So, yes. So, magic is now blue. And
which is a very pretty color for magic. Thank you very much.
Yes. Wow. Her magic is now blue.
yes. Well, her magic was technically always blue, but the magic she was borrowing was purple.
Yeah, she was using Magica's magic, which was purple, so she didn't realize her magic was blue because her magic was the magic of friendship.
Friendship. You know, it's just kind of funny, it being purple. Usually green is the color of evil.
Not
General.
necessarily.
Well, yeah, it depends. Yeah, it depends on the series. But yeah, it isn't a lot of times, but it's not exclusively. But purple is a nice villainous shade as well, generally.
Yeah.
I like purple. It's one of my favorite colors.
Is that why you're like, it's not evil?
Yeah, well, it's second only to midnight blue.
Hers is more of a sky blue.
I'm more just blues and greens in general.
My favorite is like a forest green, the dark green. But
I like either army green, hunter green, cerulean, lapis, or just randomly plum.
So
anyway,
I realized something about Magica. She's pretty much the combination of Yoda and that one aunt you don't want to invite to parties, but you still have to.
And basically,
yeah.
It's like, I will be your teacher. I also want my magic back.
yeah.
Oh,
And I still say they did beautifully on the casting in this entire series.
yeah.
did.
Generally,
But
that.
Yeah.
I even forgive the lack of a Eastern European accent on Magica because Catherine Tate just owns this role.
She does.
Yeah, she manages to melt into the role well enough that you're not thinking, oh, that's Catherine Tate Duck.
Yeah, but I mean, she makes the role she makes the character so perfect that you don't even you're not even like that character should have an accent.
Yeah, that's Magica, not that's Catherine Tate Duck.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
just like Scrooge, it's like that's not David Tennant, that's Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, his Scrooge McDuck voice is very, very good.
It is.
But it is kind of funny that the sort of circularity where her own sort of her own evil comes back around and bites Magica.
Yeah,
That's,
it's like,
that's,
and it's funny because generally speaking, that story, most cases you would be watching from the other side of it, where he's hunting down and trying to destroy the person who killed his entire village.
yeah.
And,
Phantom Blot
he
would be the hero of this story.
exactly, he would have been the hero, and generally speaking, but because of Lena being a magical being and Webby Webby you don't hurt my friend.
It's interesting if if Phantom Blood had gone to attack Magica, actually attack Magica instead of going after her magic, and gotten rid of her and stopped there because he was satisfied because he'd killed the thing that hurt him, like, this whole storyline doesn't happen.
Yeah,
Magic is
because
also dead, but the whole storyline doesn't happen because he was probably tracking Magica's magic, and that's what led him to Lena and everybody.
yeah.
But I know
Oh,
the ostensive purpose of his thing was to eliminate all magic from the world. So he might have
yeah,
still kept going, but he might have also been satiated, having gathered enough magic by just stealing all of it to get rid of the one who caused all the problems in the first place. And he might have been satiated at that. It's like, yes, I got rid of her. Revenge is mine.
Oh God,
Okay, now
no!
what do I do?
Run, Twilight Sparkle, run!
or
The friendship of magic can't save you now.
Well,
The magic
actually,
friendship.
gosh, it's Kirak.
yeah, he's a little T-Rex, but he has
Without the hooves.
reasonable motivations. He's not a mustache twirling villain. He's in another frame he would have been a hero, but
Yeah. But I mean, every good villain is a hero of his own story.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Gul Dukat,
yeah.
amazing villain, hero in his own mind.
And it's not just his own, or
well, from his perspective.
or Thanos. In
Yeah.
his head, in his perspective, to him, he was doing something good. He was trying to help preserve the quality of life by eliminating the excess quantity of life. He was in his head, he was doing a good thing. He was a hero, but he was a villain to everyone who survived and didn't survive the snap. So
yeah. So yeah, it's
any good villain is a hero of their own story.
Yeah.
True. And then there's just those bad guys who are like, wow, you know what? Being bad's fun.
It's so easy being evil.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, the difference between the mustache twirling evil. It's kind of actually Magica's kind of it's interesting because there's two villains in this story, in this particular episode, that kind of do match that, because Magica is very much the mustache twirling, I am evil because I want to be evil. I just enjoy it.
It feels so good to be bad.
Yeah, and then you have Phantom Blood, who, from another perspective, if things weren't quite the way they are, he would be a hero in a different. You could make a Phantom Blot that was a hero in his own story. So it's just sort of an interesting, but we get far less development on him. So it's kind of funny. He's pretty much taken care of almost immediately, and upon interaction, and then Magica gets her power. Good.
They give one backstory, like a quick little flashback, and that's his story dealt with.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, it's.
I love the fact that Violet is also also has her own diary of weird and unexplained things, and then so does Webby, and they're both like the nerdy ones, and Lena's just like, okay, cool, I'm best friends with a couple of super nerds.
Hey, super nerds are cool.
And yeah, but I'm a super nerd. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying she's kind of the odd one out. But it's funny because they are both very well versed in the occult, and they're both like fascinated by it and love magic and love all that. And she's the one with the innate magical powers.
Yeah, the one who who isn't really can't be asked
She
about it for the most part, is the one who
Exactly.
doesn't care.
She knows next to nothing about magic besides how to use it, and that even vaguely. And yet she's the one with all this, innate talent, and they're just like, study, study, study. I'm gonna be a super wizard. And she's like, I got the power.
The power of pancakes.
What?
So
I don't, I don't
Okay,
know.
and then it's interesting that they okay. I'm trying to remember because I watched it yesterday. Okay, at the end, Magic gets her amulet back, but then because of Gladstone, it falls in the mud and sinks. So technically, her amulet is right there, and her staff and everything is just right there. But she can't get to it. She'd have to dig through the. So technically, she could come back with her magic, but she would just be
Hey,
covered in mud, and that would be
evil,
really funny. Just like
evil sorceress never, ever get their nails dirty.
yeah, but she's wearing gloves.
yeah, your gloves completely and utterly gooed.
I'm sorry, but now I'm just picturing Magica with a with one of those snorkel and with the mask and like the snorkel and just like swimming through the mud trying to find it.
I mean, too bad she can't actually use the force and just levitate it out of the mud.
Huh?
Too bad she just can't use magic to levitate it out of the mud.
But yeah, it's just she's.
I've got it. And I've had a nice lovely mud bath. Win-win.
I just have this unshakable image in my head of Magica. She's arriving at the McDuck estate, staff in hand, covered head to toe in mud. But she has her staff, and it's just raining on her as well. And her hair is just covered in mud, but the rain has sort of slicked it down, and she's just, I found it. But then she comes in, and the ghost butler comes in, and it's like, you are filthy, and just drags her out and takes her staff from her. Like, wait, you can't do what? And just throws her out. It's like, clean up first, then you may come in. I'll keep your staff safe.
No filth in my house.
Do you understand how filthy and soaking you are? There is a nice bit of there's a hose outside. Hose yourself off. I will prepare a towel and tea. In the meantime, I will hold on to your cane. Puts it in like the umbrella stand next to the door and shoots, shoot, and she has to go back out and I will get my revenge. And she's just spraying herself with the hose. Meanwhile, the butler, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Duckworth.
Yeah, he goes up and tells Lena about it. Oh yes, Lena and Scrooge about it. It's like, oh yes, Miss Magica has arrived. I took her cane and I made her clean off so she doesn't track mud in the house. And they just take her cane, take the amulet, maybe put in a fake one, and then he just hands it right back to her. Like, wait, where's my magic? Oh, we have it. What? I will get you, Scrooge and Lena. Once I figure out how to get my magic amulet back, or she tries to, but Scrooge is just he gave it to Scrooge because it's his nemesis. He just sort of holds it out away from her, and she keeps trying to get it, but he just keeps moving it out of the way. He just keeps making these huge swipes at it, and just like, get out of my house. But but, but.
But-
Anyway, but yeah, it was nice to see. Forgive the pun. Lena step out of her shadow and come into her own.
Yeah, figuratively and literally.
But yeah, she sort of Gandalf the Whited that.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of interested to see what adventures this brings on. Although I gotta love Scrooge. It's like all magic, but I mean, except for you, you're good magic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like magic is horrible. It's like
Nothing ever good comes from magic. Except you.
And then of course they turn around and literally go through a magic gateway to the land of what was it, goats or something?
yeah, I think it was the goat people or something.
And come back with a load of treasure and apparently have had a massive adventure along the way.
Yeah.
So they had their adventure. That's the reason they couldn't do it. And I wonder if they even knew that
That we're trapped.
they were trapped. Like they
I
were so
don't
busy
think so.
collecting treasure and
They probably didn't even notice.
yeah, it's like, oh, you know, like just as they're coming over the hill to go back to where the portal is, like the portal flickers on again, and it's like, oh, yeah, they never see it off. It's like, oh, we were almost trapped here. But it's a good way to get them off doing something else. But
Plus, I mean, it started out as just a girls' night anyway.
yeah, it's basically just an excuse to limit the cast down to the people they actually want to be there. Oh, and can we and another thing. Okay, so Magica is basically at the point of the story, she had lost all her magic, but she still had that tree that looked like her. So did she carve that by hand?
Maybe.
She's also a
I
skilled carver, and also that her entire furniture thing was was all pizza boxes.
Yeah.
And another thing we learned this go around is that Gladstone's luck is somehow magic. It's a
Yeah, we
kind.
kind of already knew that because of the episode with that frog guy.
Well, not necessarily because it was another kind. It was just luck. That's what he was playing with. It wasn't really it was really categorized as magic at that point. It was categorized as luck, and that particular being could manipulate luck. And so, like, we weren't really. It was just like he had luck, and he could that being was particularly skilled at manipulating that sort of thing. And so
yeah.
they didn't. So it wasn't really luck at that point, but which means what happened to Gladstone so early in life that he got this magic luck thing cast on him.
So what happened was my headcanon now is what happened was he and Donald were on an adventure early in life, you know, a Rugrat style adventure, and they happened across this coin that, because it's always a coin when it's luck manipulation for some reason, it's either a coin or a poker chip, and they're fighting over it because ooh, shiny, and they're fighting over it, and the luck from Donald, they were even, the luck from Donald ended up transferred into Gladstone and made him super lucky, and Donald the antithesis of luck.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Or at least shifted, or they traded luck. Like, Donald lost a lot of luck in one area, but he ended up with family and that sort of luck in a different category. Like, he was lucky in a different way. Like Gladstone got all the luck monetarily and just all that sort of thing, but he didn't. But he lost all his luck on the other side of it, and now that's all shifted over to Donald. So he's got like luck with family, but Gladstone has none of that. But he has luck with everything else. But
I was like, yeah, my luck's back. Yeah. Just throws away like $60. Like, dude, give me that money.
I know.
But I suppose if $20 just falls into your lap, or you walk into every restaurant you ever walk into, you're the 1,000th customer or whatever.
And I kind of love it, like when he did like lose his magical luck powers. His life didn't really turn to bad luck. It just went from like having good luck to just being normal.
Yeah, and he couldn't handle it.
And I was like, oh dear God, why?
And I love how he was whining and like crying about it. And it's like, I didn't get everything handed to me for free.
Is this how you people live?
How do you guys
staring at him like, okay.
How do you guys do anything on the second floor? What I want to do for that kind of luck, though.
But you see, my problem with that in this with him in this episode, he didn't learn his lesson, and he didn't grow from it like at all. Which I understand is completely within character for him, but that just frustrates me.
Well, he could have basically been excised from this entire episode, and it would have changed nothing.
Exactly.
That's true.
He was basically just the comic relief.
Yes, that's exactly what he was. I think they were. It was a little dry, and they needed to punch it up a bit. And so they're like, well, he could stop Gladstone's luck, and then that could be part of what what happens, and that could be a funny thing that's going on the entire time, and so that was the whole thing. Was they needed something to sort of punch it up and give it some comic relief, and they're like, okay, we'll throw Gladstone at it. We haven't had him on in a while, and so they're like, okay, that fills it out nice enough that it's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have dropped him and had like Phantom Blot more about him, but I guess
that would have made it too heavy of an episode.
Yeah, it would have gone too heavy, but yeah. Gladstone keeps it light enough that it can still be a kid's show.
Yeah, because I mean, this episode,
it is really heavy if you start to think about it. You start to back out a little bit and you remove Gladstone and his hijinks, and it gets a little serious for a little too long without him.
Yeah. And I mean, especially for an episode that's more just, this feels more like a stepping stone episode. One of those episodes that they're not directly going anywhere with, but at the same time, they're giving, they're just tying off that thing and giving them a new ability for something down the line.
Well, this episode does a number of things really interesting, because one, it puts it on a delay timer, so it can be understood why it would take her a while to find her amulet again, because it's lost in the muck.
Yeah.
So you can have Magica have her powers yet, but it wouldn't be the next day. She probably wouldn't be showing up the next day because she'd still be searching for it. So if it takes her half a season to find her staff again, that's not that weird, because she's stuck in really deep muck, and it's gonna take her a long time to find it, even if she knows where it's at.
Yeah. but she will still end up having it, which
Yeah.
gives her a chance to be a villain at a future point.
Yeah, because she's
Like a
kind of
proper villain.
boring depowered.
Yeah.
She's
It's
you've got as
without
much
her
comic
power,
relief as you can out of her being depowered.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's basically a step lower than Glomgold without her powers.
God, that is the biggest insult I've ever heard.
I know, but it's true.
Yeah, so it lets her be that. It
Because
also,
Glomgold at least has money on his side. They're
Yeah.
both stupid, but Glomgold at least has money.
yeah, and so then you have, and Lena got her powers, so she now has power that she can rely on her own if she wants to.
Which
And-
that
Yeah.
reminds me of something. A friend will help you with your magic. A true friend will blast you with magic to see if you can block it.
Yeah.
For academic reasons, though. Academic reasons.
Yeah. Completely academic.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, it did a lot for the series as a whole, because Magica Depowered is just so pathetic.
Boring.
It's pathetic. It's boring, and well, it was funny for a while, but I think they realized it in time, and I think this episode, while it won't immediately give her powers back, it does open the door that she goes and finds her staff at some
Yeah.
point, comes back covered in mud, and screaming, "I have it!" You know,
I have the power.
that seems like
Plus-
that seems like a very season finale sort of thing. We're sort of this is the 8th episode. It seems like that would set it up nicely for a finale. She found it, and she's coming
Which
back
is
covered in mud.
Actually,
have to
kind of
stop her.
interesting because when she lost her staff to the mud, it didn't really seem like she was demagicked.
Well, you see, the amulet is not a pure source of magic because the reason why she didn't have magic after the amulet was because it was transferred into Lena.
Ah,
But with Lena no longer having possession of the amulet and it no longer being in Lena, that magic, the amulet does have the magic is in the amulet and sort of with her, but it's kind of like the TARDIS's chameleon. I mean, the TARDIS's translation matrix. You know, you're close enough. You do still have that ability, but it's a proximal thing at this point, I think, because she's close enough to it that she can use it, but she can't really use it. She's not at full strength without her channel.
yeah, that makes sense.
But, yeah.
Like, even before she didn't have real magic, but she did have some magic.
The magic of friendship.
I was talking about her prestidigitation and a slight variation there. She went from being Twilight Sparkle to being
Ooh,
Trixie.
ooh, where's,
she went from Twilight to Trixie in a matter of moments.
like, where are they all coming from? It never ends.
If she starts
It's-
magicking things into teacups when she gets her powers back.
Oh dear God, no.
Teacup, teacup, teacup.
Yeah, my headcanon is if Trixie ever had a foal, she would name it Teacup.
I could totally see that.
and would grow up to be an appraiser of fine china.
Or, you know, a coffee, a barista or something.
God,
But
they
it's
should have.
Well, just because I want her personality to be sort of opposite of Trixie, so it's like Trixie is sort of magic and you know all this stuff, and she's and you know all this sort of thing, but then like she turns around and her kid is so, oh yes, this is an exact this is from the 12th century, and it's
So dry.
is incredibly dry and boring and very analytical, whereas Trixie is very flamboyant and spectacular.
Oh dear God, they should have like totally made like another season of MLP, but just like the stories of all the background ponies, like no Twilight and her friends.
Anyway, I think we've officially tangentialized out of the episode we're supposed to be
Yeah.
covering. So I think we'll call it there on the Phantom and the Sorceress. Fine episode,
Yeah.
does a lot for moving the story forward, and that's enough of that.